Are the Pittsburgh Steelers in the market to trade one of their top two wide receiving targets? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's dive into this all here on a Monday here on Mike Drop Sports as we push through another exciting week of talking Steelers and NFL here on the channel. Don't forget our live show tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's dive in to what possibly could happen. I know there's just speculation and rumor right now, but Diontae Johnson may be taking some of this shit to heart. Diontae Johnson putting out a tweet that's been since deleted, talking about, you kept guys that were old before, this is shit. It's just getting to be that two sides of Diontae Johnson that we've come to know here throughout his career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Sometimes he can act out as an immature guy, not blocking, not participating in plays at times, just not being a good teammate sometimes, throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum. And then you've seen times where Diontae Johnson is on and looking like one of the true leaders on the football team. But you're seeing maybe a side of Diontae Johnson now that these rumors are starting to swirl. You're starting to see that immature side again. And also he said, these are just rumors. They're just going to talk. Yes, these are rumors. And if Diontae Johnson starts acting out on social media, I think it could be a serious situation for your Pittsburgh Steelers as they head into the free agent market. And Diontae Johnson, if he would do that, he's not going to do himself any help. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in a position that they could trade him, and it would make sense considering he is on the last year of his deal and considering he's one of the team's top cap hits. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're trying to free up available money for the free agency market, you have the draft ahead of you, it could make sense financially. Would I want to see Diontae Johnson go? Absolutely not, because I think he is one of the top route runners in the entire NFL. His separation is key. But he has had lack of production at times. He has had moments to where he doesn't get in the end zone. Those types of things happen. He's had moments of not being the best teammate. But you see what Diontae Johnson can do when given the right opportunity, when there's a quarterback in there, getting him the ball in a lot of different situations, letting him make plays. You can see what Diontae Johnson can do, but are you so sold on Diontae Johnson that you couldn't live without him if the trade package was right? And I think that that's what the rumors are really out there saying. The Pittsburgh Steelers are open to trading Diontae Johnson. They are open to see what they can get. And if the trade package is one that benefits the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're willing to pull the trigger. And that's all they're saying. They're not saying there is anything in place currently for Diontae Johnson to move on. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, what do you do with a wide receiver that is in the final year of his deal, making big money, gonna want another big money deal, gonna want another $18 million plus a year deal probably? Would you be considering bringing him back? Is he in your long-term plans considering you have a superstar in George Pickens in the making? A guy that you're going to end up having to pay? Are you going to be able to have two big-name wide receivers on your roster that you have to pay? And is Diontae Johnson willing to take a deal again around the same price tag and just to keep him for a year or two more? Is he willing to do that, or is he looking for a more long-term deal after this? And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to weigh the odds here or weigh the benefits here. Are you going to be able to trade him and get a lot of stuff back for him in terms of draft stock here for the 2024 season? In terms of maybe draft stock and a player. Maybe Steelers have holes. But if you're the Steelers, giving up Diontae Johnson now to get something back for him may be the best option. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, why would you wait to let a contract expire on a guy and pay him that $18 million when you know that he is not going to be in your plans long term? That's the questions you have to ask yourself when we talk about these football teams often. And we talk about here on the channel how the Steelers are one of those teams that look for long-term success, and they don't look at the immediate future as the end-all be-all for them. That's not what they got to do. They want to, yes, be successful in the immediate future, but they do plan ahead. And that's what you have to do to be one of the more steady franchises in the NFL. You can't just say, this is what we got to do now, blow it all up, do it again. You're looking at the Chicago Bears right now. How many coaches have they went through? They blow it up the minute somebody doesn't perform to the level that they want. And I know the Steelers sometimes hold on to people too long, sometimes wait too long, sometimes are too loyal. But if you're the Steelers, I think that you look at the long-term future most of the time. And there are other examples other than the Bears. It just came into my head. It just popped into my head when you had all the trade talks of their quarterback and things of that nature. But there are several other teams that do that, where they go all in and blow it all up the second it doesn't work, the second there isn't the exact results immediately that they want. They don't give anything time to grow, and they don't try to build on anything that they do. Those types of teams in the NFL. That's what I'm talking about. But when you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you've had long-term success throughout your franchise's history, then you come up and you're posed with questions like you're posed right now with Diontae Johnson, a guy that could give some return, a guy that you've gotten a lot out of. Yes, you've paid him fairly well, but in terms of big-name wide receivers, you've not had to pay out your nose for him. You haven't had to pay that huge amount. Yes, $18 million is a lot, but there's way bigger salaries for elite wide receiver talent throughout the NFL. And has Diontae Johnson always lived up to the billing? Maybe not. And maybe that is partially Diontae Johnson's fault. Yes, drops are a big concern with him, and he's had issues with drops. They're not as bad as some may think because they just came in big moments. And when the Steelers have such an anemic pass game at times, any drop is going to be magnified, huge in the fan base's eyes, in the media's eyes. When you're not having a shit ton of completions out there, you're not having a quarterback throwing the ball 50 times a game. So every little drop is going to be of utmost importance and scrutinized to the point that it's going to be a nauseating event. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have to just think this through and have to really think to themselves, next year, how are we going to replace that production? Would a guy like Calvin Austin III be able to play on the outside with George Pickens, getting rid of a guy like Diontae Johnson? How are you going to be able to incorporate maybe a free agent wide receiver? How are you going to maybe be able to go out in the draft and find a guy that could come in and contribute early? How is Arthur Smith's offense going to be utilized? Are you going to rely on these tight ends a lot more, the running game a lot more, to where George Pickens is going to be more of the feature wide receiver when you need it? But if you're the Steelers, you're already heading into 2024 with a need for wide receiver. Is it an absolute desperate need? No, but it is a big need. It's a need that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to figure out. They needed a third receiver. And trading Diontae Johnson puts you in maybe a spot to where now you need to go out and grab a couple guys. But you have opportunity ahead of you. You have the free agency market. You have the draft. You have the ability to trade and maybe get back somebody else, another weapon, and fill another hole, to where you're able to use some of your draft capital to go out and get that wide receiver that you're looking for because you didn't have to take care of another need inside of the draft. But if you're the Steelers, maybe gaining more draft capital is what you want to do, and Diontae Johnson provides you that, to where now you can create a trade package to trade up to get a guy that you need at positions of need, like a center, like a tackle, like a inside linebacker, like a cornerback, one of the big name guys. There are options for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they head into this draft. And they have to figure out what is the most important positions on the field for them to be successful inside of a new Arthur Smith offense, and what he is going to bring and how this is all going to pan out. And if you're the Steelers, you have to already have known that. You already have to know what Arthur Smith's ultimate plan is. And you wouldn't have hired him if you weren't on board with that plan. So you need to start executing it, putting the players in place and gaining capital back, any type of capital, money, draft picks, whatever you got to do to be able to start building that offense into that Arthur Smith look, into what he needs and give him the best chance in order to be successful and give him the players that he is comfortable with to succeed. That's what you're looking to do. So let's wrap this up. I just wanted to bring that up. You have a guy like Diontae Johnson. The rumors are starting to swirl. You have a guy in him that is a Jekyll and Hyde type guy. A guy that 1 minute looks like one of the better teammates on the team, and 1 minute looks like a complete and utter jackass out there on the field, acting out like an immature baby. But hey, he has production. He is a good wide receiver. He does have great route running and separation ability. He had the trust from a Mason Rudolph quarterback, a type quarterback, a guy that would stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. Kenny Pickett liked to throw the ball to Diontae Johnson. So are you willing to get rid of a guy that these quarterbacks that you're trying to pursue, one that you already have on the roster, they're comfortable with and that they've used for years? And I think that that's going to play into it also. I think depending on what they do with the quarterback situation is going to play into the Diontae Johnson situation. I really, really do. And I think, honestly, if they think that Diontae is part of their long-term plans, I think before this year even starts, I think once free agency opens and they start being able to talk to these guys in a more in-depth way and they start to get a better picture, I think that they would possibly offer an extension to Diontae Johnson. And if he says, no, I don't want to do that, I think they're going to say, well, we're going to trade you now. And I think that that's really, truly how it plays out. They're going to see how much of an interest he has in being with the team and what kind of price tag that he's going to hold on himself. And knowing that he is now starting toward the later part of his career, is he willing to take a little bit of a pay cut? Is he willing to spread some of his current money out now to lessen his cap hit for the 2024 season? Those are going to be questions and variables that play inside of this decision on whether or not to trade Diontae Johnson. But the biggest thing is going to be, how steady are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to be in terms of what they want? Are they going to be quick to just rush a decision here? That's going to be the key. They got to just make sure that they're looking for long-term success, and I think the Steelers do an excellent job at doing that throughout the years, throughout the franchise's history. These are just my thoughts. Now, the Diontae Johnson thing could just be whatever, but it's out there, and it's out there in a lot of spots, so there must be some validity to it. There has to be some sort of truth to it. There has to be some sort of thought inside of that building that it could happen, or you wouldn't be hearing it as much as you do. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for the Monday show. Again, join us tonight. I should have Mark from Steelers Nation Australia on the channel tonight for our live show as we dive into this week, as we dive into Monday and really hit this week hard. And this should be an exciting week ahead of free agency. Things starting to really ramp up for your Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see if they release any more players. We'll see if they're tied to any more trades. We'll see how this just all plays out. You're watching players fly up the draft board. Players like Zach Frazier, guys that could have been second-round picks, now maybe projecting to be late first-round picks. Jackson Powers-Johnson may be projected to slide down to the Steelers. Do the Steelers go out and grab a cornerback in round one? Or do they take an offensive tackle from the Alabama kid, Mims, whoever? I'm just saying, Latham, Mims, whoever they decide. There's just a lot of things swirling, a lot of different opportunities for your Steelers as they head into these two pivotal parts of the offseason, the draft and free agency. And it's going to be rather exciting as the Steelers continue to make cap space, continue to work possible trades. And things are going to heat up, guys, as the Pittsburgh Steelers build this roster for the 2024 season. And it's going to be exciting. So, again, guys, join us tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, there's ways to help the channel. Just check out our bio, super chats, whatever. But there are ways to help support us as we gear up and we continue to build. And we're going to have an exciting week. And this should be a fun one. So until next time, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace.